weird video games.
Reactor. Yep, that's a reactor alright. As far as I know. I'm not sure what to base that on. This is one of those games that you might assume is a simulation, maybe even educational, but it doesn't really explain anything. If you know nothing about nuclear reactors, this is all just really confusing. However, if you actually do have some background in nuclear power, or just do a little bit of Googling, you'll quickly discover that this is still pretty baffling. To help get to the bottom of this, I actually emailed a nuclear chemist and asked for some clarification as to what aspects of this game's simulation of a nuclear reactor might be accurate, and in what ways it might not be. The email she sent back just said, LOL. The objective is to move a little flashing dot around the reactor and try to knock subatomic particles into the kill wall without being bumped into them yourself. Also, the reactor is constantly pouring out intense radiation that pushes you further and further back to the edges, which is a little bit odd considering radiation is not a physical barrier. And last I checked, the only thing that can be stopped by an immaterial wall is a mime. Later on, the reactor turns into more of a black hole, which makes about as much sense as Donald Trump running a neck museum high-five potato monkey sailor. If you propel those particles into these control rods, you can cool the reactor and reset it back to normal levels. So, are you kind of like the water that serves as coolant? Except, cooling the reactor is secondary to your main goal of shooting neutrinos at walls. It also turns out you're piloting a ship. I can only imagine it's some kind of nano ship being remotely controlled, or else you're actually shrunk down inside it like the Magic School Bus. And like the Magic School Bus, you're being placed into near constant life-threatening danger and probably won't even learn anything anyway. Also, real reactors don't have a kill wall, because this is a nuclear power plant, not Running Man. The particles all follow you, but you can also deploy a decoy that they'll follow instead of you, because quarks are apparently suckers for the old switcheroo.
Crikey! These positrons are beautiful creatures, and some of the most dangerous in the subatomic particles. They hunt in packs, and they're drawn to microscopic spaceships. But their eyesight's not too keen. They're easily fooled by decoys. I'm gonna drop one here and see what happens. Higgs boson, that was a close one. I nearly got a hyper-accelerated particle right up me ass.
Okay, so aside from the fact that particles don't work that way, and reactors don't work that way, and this isn't how any of this works, what also tickles my brisket is the completely nonsensical hierarchy of particles. There's no pattern to this particular list any more than, hey, what particle has the coolest name? None of their behavior in the game, or any of their appearances, is in any way indicative of how they would be in reality. Among other factors, a nucleon has a mass thousands of times that of the rest of these particles, yet all of them bounce you around the room with equal force, like they're all sumo wrestlers made of flubber. It's even more of a disconnect than a fighting game where a giant dragon turtle is put on equal footing with a two-dimensional burger flipper, or where super-powered killing machines are on even keel with an old man in a wheelchair who's bald. Some of these particles have zero mass, so the difference in mass is literally infinite. And here's the weirdest part. The top scoring most difficult particle is a lepton, but there are also positrons and neutrinos, which are just different types of leptons. Why does a more broad, loose category make it more powerful?
Watch out for this one, mate. This little bugger's taken down 2 pilots already. One was a sergeant in the NYPD, but the other was a cop. You never know what you're dealing with when it comes to particles. They can take you down swiftly like some kind of Japanese samurai. Or worse, an Asian samurai.
It's especially not even close to right when the leptons split apart into nucleons and other smaller particles like neutrinos and sometimes photons. That sound you just heard was a chemistry teacher screaming into a paper bag. I mean, if it just said these were atoms splitting into protons and electrons, then it would kind of make sense. It still wouldn't be accurate at all, but at least I'd know what it's going for, because protons and electrons are at least part of an atom, and splitting atoms are a related concept. If you're confused, please consult this chart. In conclusion, if this isn't a game about a mime driving the Magic School Bus, I am very confused.